qualified lights are on, and we go green in Paris. He's going for it around the outside, that's never going to work. They're both in the wall. It's Jean-Eric Vergne, he's in the wall. The grass is in the wall. Sebastien Buemi then, who wins once again.
So that's how it panned out in the City of Light for round 6 of the Qatar Airways Paris E-Prix. Welcome to Street Racers. We're here again in the French capital after Sebastien Buemi secured back-to-back wins in back-to-back weeks. So how do you prepare for back-to-back races so seamlessly? We decided to find out.
I mean, clearly, you know, I appreciate the fact that they spend a lot of hours, you know, they are passionate. Now we have a very big month ahead of us, so it's important, you know, everyone is very motivated, the cars are looking great.
You know, Saturday is a hard day for everyone, you know. Then you stop the race, for us it's more or less over, but then they have to repack everything.
We are about 20 people in the team, 10 mechanics, 10 engineers, 4 cars after the race. First of all, we have all the scrutineering stuff, just to check if the car are legal or not. We need first to disarm the battery to be safe, take off all the wings to put the car in the car cases. All the panel, all the stuff around the car has to be packed in the same box, so it's like a Tetris. So it's a big job, about 6 hours.
They seem to have like the whole choreography really good, but it seems like a lot of work. I think if they leave me and Seb doing it, they'll probably take like a few weeks to set up.
I think was the first ever race in Formula E in Beijing. Buemi's car was completely destroyed after the race with a broken gearbox and everything. And it was very hard to get the car fixed for the next race in Putrajaya. That was the biggest challenge we had so far. And it will be very tight for Paris because the next race is in only 1 week.
And after the team have completed packing up, Renault's makeshift garage and cars hit the road to Paris. Once all the boxes have arrived, FE guidelines state that teams are given the same amount of time to build their garages before race day.
You know, in any kind of motorsport, you know, you're surprised, you know, how everything unpacks and repacks really quickly, but I think it's pretty quick, you know. Sometimes, you know, come on Wednesday night and there's nothing, everything is in the boxes, and then you come on Thursday morning and everything is here.
We are all French, so it's more easy for communication. We all want to win.
Yeah, we get on great. Some of my mechanics are the same since pre-season testing in season 1, so it's been 3 years that we work together. And if we can reward them with a great result at the end, it's very important to me.
Yeah, I think it's good for the fans to be able to come close to the cars and to see, you know, how, you know, like technological they are, and you know, to see how much work there is behind, and they're not enough on the spotlight, I think.
Now, obviously, Monaco and Paris will have presented different propositions for the teams and drivers, as will all the venues on the FE circuit. It means meticulous preparation is needed, plus the ability to adapt to changing circumstances. Here's our motorsport mastermind, Mark, to talk strategy.
Formula E presents a whole new challenge to strategists that simply didn't exist before. This is a completely new way of going racing, and so while some elements of race strategy might be familiar to traditional racing fans, other parts of a Formula E team's plans and preparations for a race weekend have had to be learnt and developed completely from scratch. So let's go and take a closer look at just how you can win or lose an E-Prix based on a team strategy. There's no warm-up lap or tyre warmers in Formula E, so everyone's starting on cold tyres and cold brakes. And with 20 cars launching into an often tight turn 1, it can be chaotic. So getting away cleanly and staying out of trouble will have been discussed beforehand. Races are rarely won off the start line, but they can all too easily be lost. As the race unfolds and some of the variables like the start gradually begin to disappear from the picture, the simulations are continually being run back in the team's garages to fine-tune the strategic plan. The drivers will have been briefed beforehand and are constantly updated over the radio as to what their energy targets are. Essentially, that means how much energy they can take from the battery on each lap while still making the preferred point in the race to make their pit stop for the car change.
Now, Buemi has more energy than us, so don't waste so much energy defending.
10.53.
Now, he can play with power levels by adjusting the steering wheel switches to help with that. But the trick is to be as efficient as possible, whilst not losing out to your rivals, and get to the end of each stint just before the usable energy in your battery ticks over to 0%. Unlike with the fuel tank in a traditional racing car, we're not simply taking energy out of the Formula E battery all the way through a race. Regenerative braking, or using the electric motor in reverse to slow down the car at big stopping points like this, can actually generate electricity and feed it back into the battery. And of course that can have a big impact on your race strategy. The whole process has to be very carefully managed, because race or regen too hard and for too long and your battery overheats. And if that happens, the system derates or reduces performance to prevent damage, and your race is ruined. Run out of energy too soon and you become a sitting duck in the last few laps of the race.
But how much energy is good? It's impossible.
You can run strategy 9, you can run strategy 9, he has not enough energy to continue at this rhythm.
Whereas if you can manage to eke out an extra lap by driving more efficiently in your first car, you've got less laps to do in the second one. And that means you can run at higher power for longer, giving you more opportunities to attack. As with any top-level sport, being successful in Formula E is about getting everything right at exactly the right time. It means being at the top of your game. It means being able to deal with difficult situations under pressure, having the best people and the best equipment. But as we've seen, a big part of all of that comes down to meticulous preparation and strategic planning.
So let's see how the strategy played out for round 6 of the season as we relive the race from the driver's perspective.
All 5 lights are on, and we go green in Paris. Here goes Verne around the outside. No! Looks as though Di Grassi might have lost a few places, but it is Sebastien Buemi who holds the lead.
Your pace is good, your pace is good.
We'll easily pass Gutierrez, but you can't pass both now.
You are doing a good job, good job.
I can't overtake.
Back end just got away from him. Rosenquist goes through.
You will start losing regen.
Here comes Di Grassi, he's attacking Tom Dillman. Lopez! Whoa.
What's going on, man?
Oh, and that's Nelson Piquet.
Bit of understeer we have.
It's just between Buemi and you.
If you can overtake, use the extra.
Da Costa covers the inside line. Oh, he's going for it around the outside. That's never going to work. And they're both in the wall.
Lucas, do you have damage?
Car is okay.
You okay, Antonio?
Box, box, box.
Okay, I come in, Buemi did the same.
In the pit lane.
3, 2, 1, go. Qui est derrière? Est-ce que je sauve de l'énergie? La batterie qui est derrière?
C'est bon, se calme.
Lucas, we have fan boost.
Di Grassi uses his fan boost to go past Nico Prost, and Freites gets the inside line and makes the move.
Okay, we're currently losing about 1 second a lap to the leaders.
Oh, and there's Prost going past Gutierrez. And off! It's Jean-Eric Verne from second place.
Suspension broke.
I'm so sorry for you.
There's the look up the inside, late on the brakes from Mitch Evans. Oh, that's going to be a close one. Piquet into the back of Dillman.
They're getting really slow in front of ahead of us.
Oh, Di Grassi's in the wall. There's the checkered flag. It's victory in Paris for Sebastien Buemi, and he extends his championship lead.
Bien joué, Seb, c'était du gros boulot, gros boulot. Yes! Incroyable. Merci les mecs.
Now time for a change of pace, scenery and vehicle. We're popping back to Monaco to see how this guy enjoyed some downtime with my friend Nikki as they road tested a street EV from DS.
Well, surrounded by super yachts, we can only be in one place, and that is, of course, Monaco. And on that note, it's time to go for a rather important test drive with a very important man. I'm here with Sam Bird, the DS Moto racing driver, standing in front of this. Wow,
it's pretty
the
impressive,
E10,
isn't it? It's pretty impressive.
An all-electric GT.
It is, and it's a one of a kind. There's only one of these in the world. It's like a prototype, and it's worth a hell of a lot of money.
How much?
So about 2 million euros. So it's a very expensive piece of kit. So I'm a bit nervous about driving it, but
You're driving. Sam.
What?
Bad news.
You're not driving me.
You're not driving.
No. I'm a terrible passenger, Nikki. She really driving me?
I promise to drive sensibly.
Jeez.
If I hadn't known about the price tag of this car, I don't think I'd be quite so nervous driving it.
Yeah. Sorry, I sort of spooked the fear of life into
But
you.
this is, I do feel like we are literally in a rocket ship.
It's like
I cannot
going into
explain
the
how
film Prometheus or
futuristic it
something.
is. I've never seen anything like it. All the buttons, they're sort of like really geometric.
You would expect it in a spacecraft, wouldn't you?
We should quickly talk about this car.
Yep.
Give me some of the facts and figures.
It's got roughly 400 brake horsepower. It's got a range of around 400 kilometres, and it'll do 250 kilometres an hour. It weighs about 2 tons. So what's that, like 1 African elephant?
Oh, I think it's less than that.
Is it less than an African elephant?
On a diet.
Really? How much does an African elephant weigh?
Well, a couple of tons, maybe. Like,
Well, there you go.
Well, like
I just said
3.
to you.
Well, like 3.
Well, right, I'm going to have to Google it later.
This being an electric GT with a range of 200 miles is really impressive.
It is impressive.
Nothing else
and this
like
is
that
this is the area that DS want to look into for the future. They want to make sure that in the future all of their cars are hybrid or electric.
Yeah.
You know, they want to go down that route. So this is the catalyst to that, to say to the world, look, this is the route we want to do. Go, go, go.
I want to leave a gap.
No, I don't want you to leave a gap. Ah!
Just shut the brakes back.
Oh, God.
Let's leave those two squabbling during the break, but when we come back, keeping cool under pressure, the coolest customer on the circuit, and a female first for Mahindra. This week's Street Racers stays on in the French capital as round 6 of the season witnessed another great race at the Qatar Airways Paris-Ypres. But from excitement on the track to working hard off it, let's head back to the Renault eDams paddock for a lesson in how to stay cool.
There are 2 simultaneous races going on in Formula E. There's the obvious one with the cars out on the track, but there's also a constant battle going on against temperature. And I'm here at the Renault garage with this very clever piece of kit, a FLIR infrared camera, which is going to show us exactly where around the car that heat's being generated. One of the first things that the guys here in the garage, the mechanics, have to do when the car comes in for a session is try and cool the battery back down again, because it's very hot, having just been out on the racetrack, but they can't charge it up quickly enough if it's above a certain temperature. So the dry ice is in this green section here, which shows it's very cold. The fans are blowing backwards through the side pod, doing exactly what they need to do, cool that thing down back into its operating temperature window again. And it's vital that the battery's cool, because the heat is generated not only by the discharge that powers the car around the track, but also from the recharge that comes with the regenerative braking that Formula E cars employ.
This year, with 150 kilowatt of regen, we can obviously heat up the battery a lot more. And the problem is, above a certain temperature, which I believe is around 55, 56 degrees, you start to lose the power of the regen. So you cannot regen anymore at 150 kilowatt. We try to have a simulation that will tell, according to the air temperature, how the temperature of the battery is going to raise. And according to this, we try to prevent the fact that the battery is going to go up, because around 63 degrees, the car will stop.
That's not a message you want to receive.
No, you don't want to receive that. So after a few laps, the engineer is going to tell you whether you are on target, whether you have more margin or not. And according to this, you can increase or decrease the regen. That's down to your strategy then.
On est sûr d'être bon avec la batterie.
On est en target, pas de soucis. On a 0,8 de marge par rapport au panneau. On devrait terminer à 58 de santé batterie.
Are there any races where temperatures really had an impact on the end result for you in a race?
In season 2 in Putrajaya, we had a big problem when the car stopped.
Sebastien Buemi is slowing, the race leader, and has he run into problems for the Renault team?
It was the first time that the temperature was so high and we didn't really know how to deal with it, so yeah, we obviously paid the big price.
The laws of nature might be pretty hard to beat, but with the right technology and the right cooling systems, the teams have found ways to keep that under control. And that learning that we found here in Formula E will feed directly into the road car industry, meaning that cars that you and I will be driving in the future will be able to go faster and longer, far more efficiently as a result.
But for all the hard work the paddock do, ultimately it's down to the driver to come up with the goods, and so far there's been no one better at it than this guy.
I got into racing when I was 4 years old. I received a go-kart for Christmas, and I think the next day I was already driving it. But that's how I started, and then obviously similar kind of way up compared to all the other guys. You know, lots of karting, and then moved to single seaters when I was 15, up to Formula One. So normal way up. Yeah. When I grew up, I had a hero. I mean, Michael Schumacher was back then the driver winning everything, and I was looking up at him, and I never expected that one day I would race in Formula One with him in 2010. Many people inspired themselves from him. He was winning everything, doing things better than the rest, and I think that's why people, you know, liked him very much. Yeah, so I stopped Formula One in 2011, and then I moved to endurance racing in the WEC. For a couple of years before basically Formula E started, and it was the right thing to do, you know, both endurance and Formula E, because back then Formula E was still small, starting, nobody knew what to expect. So I thought, yeah, I give it a go. I knew Jean-Paul and Alain well, and the team, so I thought, yeah, that could be a great opportunity. So that's why I decided to join, and since then, you know, it's been a very good journey so far. I think today you need hard work, you need talent, you need many, many things if you want to be successful, and clearly passion is one of those. So I think it's great to start in go-karting with only taking it as a hobby, as a joke, as a game, really. And then if things work well, you know, you try to put the effort, the preparation, and then that should lead you to some good results.
So from the man who keeps finishing first to a first for Mahindra, a female first. Cool, you have quite a CV. You're an actress, a former Miss India, an entrepreneur. Tell me a bit about you. It sounds amazing.
Oh, I just get to do great stuff, and I never lose an opportunity. Not the least one when I get to drive one of these. So that's where I got lucky. 2 weeks ago, I actually test drove the next season car, and it's quite something.
Wow, so you're quite a daredevil, really. Did you have to do all the simulators and stuff?
Yes, so when I first went to the Mahindra Racing facility in Barcelona, one of Mahindra Racing's drivers, and he said, oh, you're going to feel a little odd after this. And I said, oh no, I do many things, I bungee jump, I fly planes, I won't feel sick. And 5 laps in, you can't describe how awkward it feels. It's not like you're sick, but you just feel like the ground's been pulled away from under you.
What was it like driving it? Was it amazing?
It's like driving the future. I watched science fiction movies growing up that had this meow sound, and that's the sound. Each time I hear this sound, to me, it's like being transported into a science fiction movie. So the beauty of these cars is they're proving the viability of electric cars as cutting edge, fast, exciting cars.
You getting involved with this Mahindra setter racing against Felix, was that part of your sort of contribution to make some awareness?
Absolutely. I'm a huge advocate and a very, very passionate one of electric mobility. So I see myself as somebody who has a degree of influence, has an opinion-making capacity, and I use that all the time through my Twitter, through every opportunity I get to talk about how important electric mobility is for us, particularly for cities in India which are so polluted.
And would you like to see Formula E come to India?
Yes. I hope it comes to India.
Which city would you like to see it come to?
I think Delhi. Delhi has a beautiful central part. It's got great architecture. I'd love for it to go up to from India Gate, which is this beautiful gate we have. Up the North Block and South Block, and turn around and come back from Raisana Hill. I think it'll be beautiful.
And you know that Formula E has had some female drivers, so if you got that call...
Yes, so you know, I got lucky. Mahindra Racing invited me to drive their Formula E car for next season, the test car. So that actually makes me the first Indian woman to have driven a Formula E car. So I've told them that, you know, everybody needs to have a test sort of spare driver in case, God forbid, something happens. So I'll be waiting there tomorrow. Just in case. I have my suit.
I think, forget actress, you should be a stunt actress.
I should be.
You should. You can do so many other things. Thank you so much.
exciting.
I'm so glad that you're so behind all this, and I can't wait to see you getting that suit on and helmet on. We'll be waving you
Yes,
off.
I look forward to that. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Staying with a driver familiar with the Mahindra car, it's time now to put Nick Heidfeld in the quickfire hot seat. Name?
Nick Heidfeld.
Age?
31.
Team?
Mahindra Racing.
What's your favourite animal?
Dog.
Your childhood ambition?
Becoming a race driver.
Your adult ambition?
Raising my kids properly.
And your sporting hero?
Michael Jordan.
Worst habit?
Being late.
Teammates' worst habit?
Not being honest.
Which superhero would you be?
I don't know if that exists. If I had a superpower, I would like to be able to travel through time.
Have you ever broken any bones?
No, just fractured partly, not fully broken.
What was it?
The shoulder plate on a bicycle accident.
Favourite film?
Life is Beautiful.
Who would you want to play you in a movie of your life?
Edward Norton.
If you weren't a racing driver, what would you do?
I would love to do any other kind of sports, preferably including an engine.
Best dance move you've got?
Moonwalk.
You'll have to prove that at some point. I'll make
You didn't say that.
While Nick is a veteran in the sport, next up we turn our attention to something still in its infancy, but with potential to change the face of electric vehicles. Qualcomm is responsible for providing the static wireless charging system used by the Formula E safety car. Now they're ready to demonstrate the next phase in wireless charging technology.
Right from the beginning, we've always wanted to do dynamic charging, so that's traveling along with your vehicle and getting charged while you're driving. Today we're demonstrating that technology with our first 100-meter dynamic wireless charging track. So the idea is that if you buy a car in the future, charge down the motorway while you're driving.
I'm really excited to see this technology in action for the first time, because this could be all around the world in a few years or decades. This could be cars that, just like the one that just passed by us, charge as they go, and this completely makes disappear the range anxiety for electric cars, which is one of the big limitations for people to buy electric cars.
Adapting their own static wireless technology, dynamic EV charging works by embedding coils beneath the surface of the road, which electromagnetically supplies electricity to pads underneath the vehicle. This is used on demand by the EV's battery management system.
When automotive manufacturers design cars today, they've got to design it for like the 400-kilometer range. And that means a really expensive big battery. And that's the main cost driver in electric vehicles these days. What we're trying to do is reduce that cost requirement. I mean, we're looking at the rollout of normal home wireless chargers next year. So the question is, which technology will work together? If we can make a dynamic charging system which works with the existing static charging, then there's a business case behind that. It's going to be a balance between battery size and cost, and how much the dynamic system might cost. Short term, we'd love to get it into the Formula E track. We'd love to get the race cars driving on a dynamic track.
Yeah, eventually it could be also in the racing, who knows? We do a circuit, we build this infrastructure under, and then the cars can go to on incredibly high levels of power, or could go for a very long time. We could do an endurance race electric. The sky's the limit with this technology.
Before we go, let's check out what's been happening off the track. It doesn't take too much to keep some of our drivers happy. Felix Rosenqvist and his FE buddies having way too much fun, simply steering through a puddle. Sam Bird has been seeing double during his Parisian adventures. Jean-Eric Vergne explains what caused his crash in round 6, but is already looking ahead to round 7. Antonio Felix da Costa seems pleased for his Amelin Andretti teammate Robin Frins, who was back in the points in France. And as for the winning team, Renault managed to find time to give their FE car and the Zoe EV a tour of the French capital. Well, that's it as we bid bon voyage to Paris. Next up, it's Berlin for rounds 7 and 8 in an FE doubleheader. We'll see you then.
The championship is really starting to hot up.